everybody? Welcome to another edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is where we talk about sports with comedians. Let me bring up my man Maurice Smith. Mo, what's cracking? How was your weekend? How's everything, bro? While I wait for the other guys to come in. What's going on? Can't hear you.
Hey, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes, I
I
can hear
said
you.
everything was good, so we had fun on box seats while you were gone. El Capitan, El Chapo, you know how you was making moves. What you shaking your head for, man? You the man.
I'm not El Capitan. I'm not that dude. That dude sounds villainous, violent. You know what I mean? That's not me. That's not me. You know that. You know that, Mo. But it's good to hear you, though. You sound like you had a good time.
Okay. Should we call you the Stay Puff Marshmallow guy? You don't sound villainous.
Being compared to him soft, man. That's hilarious. Mo, you're gonna bring it out of me, man. I'm gonna start cracking on you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Hey, man. That's what. Listen,
That's
listen.
what you're supposed to do, right?
The
You're
more
supposed to do
y'all
that.
me lets me know, the more I'm inside the clique, man. Shoot, I ain't got nothing wrong with that. Hey, listen, I
Yeah,
having a good time with it. Well, I'm saying,
yeah.
how's things going with you?
Everything's going good, man. You know, we got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff popping. I'm waiting for the guys to come. I don't know what happened. Everybody must be asleep. You know what I mean? There must be everybody must be still suffering. Did you do the show yesterday with Rodney Perry?
Yes, it was me, Rodney, Talent, and just as we were about to leave, Mike Sean came in for like the last few minutes. He chimed in. I think he had something going on. He was traveling or something. And he was late, But it was a great show. It was a good show. We had a good time. We talked Dallas. We talked running backs. We talked top 10 worst fans in the NFL.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah, that sounded like that was a fan a question that Rodney Perry came up with.
Fair to say, it was a Rodney Perry question. We were, you know how Rodney is. You be driving down Main Street, and next thing you know, you on Martin Luther King Boulevard. Next thing you know, you on Glen Close Drive with Rodney. You don't know where you gonna wind up at, but you always wind up somewhere funny.
Yeah, that's definitely true. All right, so let's jump into the first thing, man. Just before we came on the air, there was a 49er player who got arrested and released. San Francisco 49er defensive lineman Charles Omenihu was arrested on suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence Monday, according to the police department. He was booked at the jail, released. Police ended up responding to his house at 439. Get this, Mo. He got arrested because he got into an argument with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend said he pushed her. There was no visible injuries on her. He pushed her. She fell down, and they arrested him. She didn't require medical attention. She didn't require anything. But now it made the news. He pushed her. He got a restraining order against him now. Now, mind you, his girlfriend lived with him. So not even his wife, it's his girlfriend. So his girlfriend is in his house, and he gets arrested, and she could stay there. And now he can't come back to his house. That's not even with his wife. So I don't know about you, but if it was me, I'd be beyond heated. Now, I'm not condoning anybody hitting anybody. I don't condone that at all. But if that was my wife, I wouldn't be as mad as if it's my girlfriend. You know what I mean, Mo? What's your take?
Yeah, wife, girlfriend, baby mama, the neighbor next door, my side piece. I can't come home. It's a all right. He shouldn't have pushed her. I'm not saying that, but we don't know the details of all the story.
Yeah.
We don't know what really went down. How do we know she didn't smack him first and then his reaction was to push? People got to understand. And I'm not saying because they're football players, but these guys are reactors. They're taught all their life to like sudden reaction to certain things. So once it's something violent, and then their automatic reaction is a violent response. It's
Mm-hmm.
not right. It's not. I'm not saying they should be allowed to like hem a chick up in the elevator and whoop her ass, But
Mm-hmm.
it's we don't know what happened, man, and she should be just vacated out the house. That's it. That's like, okay, we ain't. Here's your restraining order. You got it. Won't you go home?
I know. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think these laws will ever change. But that's something these dudes, are doing, and they're football players. I think people are jumping on fact that they're football players, and this thing happens, really quickly. So that's a big concern. Let me see what my man Mike Sean's at. So let me write this in where you know these
Hey,
dudes,
Frank.
man. I take off. Yeah.
Frank, I want to ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead.
How many brown and tan hats do you have? Because it seems like your hats are always brown and tan. I ain't seen like a white, yellow, blue, green, orange.
I got white. I got all those colors. I got all those colors. I just like these hats more so. I want to make sure you see that. You see that. You see that clearly. Okay, let me make sure you see.
Let me switch up. You see
Yeah,
that?
see what happened
That's
with
my
you changed your hat? You see what happened? You changed your hat?
Yeah, well, I did work for them. I didn't have. Let me hold up. I can do a different hat because you put the Patriots up. So we
That's what I
put the
did.
team there, right? So
Okay,
we
right.
beat the Patriots 2 times.
Oh, you know you're crazy, right? You know you're
2
crazy.
times, yes
All right,
sir, yes sir.
let's talk about the next thing, man. I don't know if first of all, let me thank all the people out there who are watching and continue to support the show. I appreciate y'all. We back. It's box seats. We back. And we getting ready to do some things. I'll jump into that in a second. But did you hear about this story on Friday or Saturday? Was it about Ed Reed? Ed Reed, the former Baltimore Ravens safety, who and one of the men who's going to be obviously, and actually he is inducted into the Hall of Fame. He got hired by Bethune-Cookman, and then he got fired, and he went on a
What?
rant over the weekend. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't hear about that. Oh man, no, I wish I'd have known about that. Could have been in my sit your ass down. What happened?
Yeah. Well, it turns out that Ed Reed complained about basically all of the stuff that was going on at this school. He complained about the requirements, the living requirements, the player like all the requirements that is for the players. And then he talked about how basically the overall stature is for the normal students, and the faculty got together and they let him go. So and then he went on live. He went on a live feed and he lit them up. When I tell you he lit them up, and then this morning, or was it yesterday morning? Yesterday morning, he's talking to Deion Sanders live, and he's just basically saying, Deion, you was right. Everything you said about the HBCUs, you was right about. So I was like, wow, is it really that bad? So he went out there, for more than that, and just even went and talked about how bad it was. So you got to tell me what your thoughts are on this, because I was like, man, that's really, really bad that it happened to him like that. What's your take?
First, they take me back. I think it was Dave, the businessman. And he used to tell us that they've been corrupt from day one.
Yeah.
They've been corrupt. So I'm not surprised, to hear this. My thing is, let's not even point the finger at nobody except Black people who are able to step up and make sure these schools are ran properly. It's not like we don't have power in this world. It's not like we don't have finances. And I'm not talking about Jay-Z or Puff Daddy, you know what I'm saying, the obvious people who do things behind the scenes to ensure our youth. I'm talking about people I'm talking about our judges and lawyers and doctors that are Black that graduated from these HBCUs. Why aren't they stepping in to make sure things run correctly?
Bro, you said it absolutely right. I can't think of anything more than that. But this is what I will commend Dion, Ed Reed, a lot of other players. They're putting a spotlight on some of these HBCUs because a lot of stuff is going on that I didn't even know was going on. I never attended the HBCU. I went to Northeastern. I ended up going to another PWI, which is predominantly white institution. That's what I did. And honestly, it's a new thing for me. Like, I didn't know, and we don't know if you're not there. You know what I mean? Like, we support the HBCU. You don't know if you're not there, but for them to be there and then to put it out there, a lot of people are mad about that too. So that's a whole nother conversation. But we're gonna talk about that one thing. Now, talk to me about, huh?
I didn't go to college.
Okay, but talk to me about obviously the Shannon Sharp incident that happened on Friday, and then he gets on the institution when he talks about when he apologizes. He's on his show. Undisputed. Then he ends up getting on Undisputed, and he apologized. Now, first of all, let's talk about Shannon Sharp and the incident at the Lakers game. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. I
I
saw
don't
the
think anybody
tape.
missed it, right?
I saw the tape. I saw the video, man. Listen, first of all, they don't want to smoke with Shannon Sharp. I don't care. They talk about he's 50 or in his 50s, he's an old man, this, that, and the other. They don't want to smoke with Shannon Sharp. Shannon might be a 50-year-old man, but he in a 35-year-old body. He
Yeah,
built. He ain't mentally right. You know what I'm saying? I'm just pissed with Shannon, and I said it I said it yesterday. He want to bring all that smoke at a Laker game to the Timberwolves, but why he ain't bringing smoke like that to Skip Bayless when he doing stupid stuff?
yeah, that's a great point. But maybe because he's scared he's on national TV, he ain't trying to lose that check either. You know what I mean? Maybe
Listen,
that's
like Shannon Sharp won't be okay. Like somebody else, if Shannon Sharp, you run Amir, good. Amir's here too. Y'all run a network with a show on it. Shannon Sharp smacks Skip Bayless, gets fired from his show, but you got to open it on yours. Are you gonna hire Shannon
yeah,
Sharp?
but Mo,
You
here's the
are,
problem.
yes, you are.
Yeah, here's the problem. Here's the problem, Bo. He probably makes more money now on Undisputed than he did his entire career that he did for the NFL. You got to remember, we got to put all that in perspective too. So he's not trying to cut off that check. You know what he got. My man Amir Silly's in the building. Amir, first of all, thank you for joining the show, man. I appreciate you coming in at the last
No, I
second. Amir,
appreciate it.
we talking about the Shannon Sharp incident, man, and talk to me. Tell me about what your thoughts about Shannon Sharp having this incident, and then Shannon Sharp ultimately apologizing on the Undisputed about the incident that happened. Talk to me.
Well, you know what's so funny? Like when I saw the incident, because I didn't actually see the game, but like anything and everybody else, you see the information, being disseminated about what happened. I I'm one of those people. I had to smile when I saw the whole thing because we all, the three of us, I'm sure, are all sports guys, meaning we've either played sports or we've actually been to stadiums. And one of the things that happens when you're at a stadium, drinking aside, you get
Right.
vested in the game. You get vested in the players. You get vested in the teams. All the energy of the sporting event itself lends to you and the experience. People get emotional. The one real reason why sports is so great to us, or why we love sports so much, is because it allows us to, for a couple of hours, maybe take our minds off our normal problems. At the end of the day, Shannon Sharp, just like the three gentlemen in these squares are, he's a human being. Emotions run high. What I thought was fun and interesting about it is I didn't mind the apology because I thought him apologizing was a great thing. Because I think one of the real misnomers that we have, unfortunately, as a community is our inability to have accountability and responsibility. So I was dope. I thought that was dope. I just thought he apologized to too many people. I was like, dude, you apologizing to all kind of people that to me didn't have anything to do with it. I was like, why
Yeah,
you,
I was waiting for where's my
saying to the
apology, bro? You
parking
gonna
attendant,
apologize?
yeah,
You
to the
apologize
parking
to me.
attendant, I want to apologize to him. I'm like, dude, you apologize. But I think the beauty of it and the sadness of it, and this is, only thing that I take away, Frank, you talked about this, obviously on your show. I find it interesting that his apology went the way that it went, and obviously it was his apology, so he did it the way he felt he should. I think it's interesting that Skip Bayless had an incident, if my memory serves me, a couple of weeks earlier, where a player was, injured. And in his mind, he thought that the game and all this stuff should go on, and the player was injured. And it was a serious injury. It wasn't, something for us to take lightly, this, that, the third. I didn't see Skip Bayless have to apologize. I didn't see there be any outcry and this, that, and the third. I always find it interesting when men of color, depending on what space they're in, they have to do and go above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to them showing supposedly remorse and or attrition for whatever it is they were accused of. Come on, y'all. We got to stop that. That was the only thing. I just was too much. I was like, dude, you apologize to family, you apologize to, stop, keep it going. Shannon, you're doing a great job. You're speaking up for some time voice, and your job is to do so. I thought that should have been. I thought he handled it well, though, overall,
Amir's getting kind of choppy there. Amir getting kind of choppy, but we're gonna keep you. We're gonna hope you can be able to stay there and get that connection a little bit better. Don't fall out. Don't fall
Okay.
out. Don't fall out. All right, let's move on to the next story, man. I don't know if you saw this, Mo, and this is huge to me. A couple people reported yesterday that and confirmed it that Lamar Jackson turned down $133 million that was guaranteed from the team. 133 million guaranteed from the Baltimore Ravens, but the Baltimore Ravens are now looking in other options, is the way that it was said, because now they're starting to say we're not 100% sure if we're going to make him happy, and if we can't make him happy, then maybe we should trade him. You know what I mean? And that might be the conversations coming out of here. So my thing to you is, well, what's your thoughts on, first of all, Lamar Jackson turning down $133 million? Lamar's trying to get the 200 guaranteed. That's his thought process. And I'm like, y'all only what, $70 million off? You know what I mean? Like, what's another 70 million? You know, I know it's a lot of money, but what's your take, Mo?
Yeah. I don't know who to put I'm not going to say point the finger at, but I don't know who's going in the wrong direction, because somebody at the end of this is going to be in the wrong direction. Somebody loses. Either Lamar's going to lose and not get the money. Either Baltimore's going to lose and not get Lamar. Somebody's going to lose, but we don't know who it is. And I honestly think that it's going to be Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Baltimore hurts more without Lamar than Lamar without Baltimore. We've seen that at the end of the year. What did they lose? Like four out of 5, something like that. They lost a few games in a row once Lamar went down. You know, nobody is able to step in there and do that role. And if they do that, then you got to look at least 3 seasons of rebuilding that whole
the whole
team.
thing goes around Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, the whole thing goes around him. So Lamar's in a good situation. But come on, Lamar. Really? $200 million? I mean, but 130 is an insult. But somebody got to come up with a number that's going to say, okay, we good.
Yeah,
that's what needs to happen. And I think that the people representing Lamar, which is his mother, she's stern and she's strict, but being stern and strict is not always a good negotiation tactic.
Well, here's the thing, Amir. People are mad that Lamar got his mama negotiating, but Lamar's still trying to get to. Lamar was an MVP. He's trying to get to Patrick Mahomes status. He's trying to get to Josh Allen check. He's trying to get up there because he feels that he was an MVP and he deserves it. And 133 million is an insult to me, you know. And I'm not even in his shoes, Amir. It's got to be an insult. It's got to be. When you say so, Amir?
It is, and again, it's one of those situations that rears its ugly head. The only caveat that I'll say is a little bit different with this. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, he has gone to the Super Bowl and he has won one. You know, no disrespect to Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes has gone to a Super Bowl. He's won one. He's, also, been to a few divisional championships. The other, part of it, like you said, and I think that this is paramount. 200 million should be the least of the things that Baltimore should be concerned with. The man has most certainly proven to be a vital part of not only your team, but he's actually been the team for the last 3 years, period. Y'all haven't given him a running game. You haven't really given him, too many people to pass the ball to. So he's really had to take on the onus of being everything for the offense. With that having been said, I do understand their reservation because unfortunately, football is a pretty brutal sport. And you pay somebody $200 million and then they get injured in some odd way. Now you're on the hook to, both you guys' points about now having to rebuild not only the offense, but having to rebuild your team. I hope that they can find some common ground and keep him because I think he's done a tremendous job thus far in Baltimore. And I think, for him, and I just say this about, to me, some of the players in general, understand that the sport that these guys play, you have got to take really great care of yourselves because as we saw again with what happened with the young man in Buffalo, it could be seen as a freak accident or whatever case may be or an anomaly, but the point is it can happen. So you got to really do a better job. These young dudes got to take better care of themselves because anything is possible now. And we're seeing it in real time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point. The DeMar Hamlin situation, nobody sees coming, and the only thing that can save you is a contract. You know what I mean? If you ain't got that contract, nobody's obligated to give you nothing. You know what I mean? Dime. Not a dime. All right, so Mo, the next question is because Dallas lost over the weekend, and everybody's like, "Whoa, here's the question. Dak Prescott has got this situation now, whereas he has to get extended. He had, he got a lot of money getting ready to hit the books for Dallas. So the Dallas Cowboys have a situation where they have to decide whether enough to extend him, and then his extension is more money. Now it's like $43 million, whereas before right now it's 38, 39. If you're Dallas, after how they lost, do you trade him, Mo, or you keep him?
Did you see the tweet? Did you see the tweet? I can't believe you went through that whole question. Did you see the tweet?
What tweet?
The one where they blame Dallas. The one with Dallas.
The Cowboys. Yeah, I saw that. They
come on. Listen, Dak is out. Dak is out. Dak is done in Dallas. But if I was Dak Prescott, I wouldn't want to go back to Dallas after they put that out there in the world. Michael Parsons put it out there to him too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody blaming Dak needs to leave Dallas. He could go, and we've seen quarterbacks do better in other places that couldn't get over the hump on certain systems. Dak is out. If I was Dallas right now, the only team I would call up is Green Bay. I say, I give you Dak, you give me Rodgers. Release both headaches. Because that's the only trade that they'll work out for them. A swap for the quarterbacks. Dak is out. Well, they both going to make about the same amount of money. I think Rodgers gets like 50. Like you said, Dak's like 48, 43 million. It's an even swap, money-wise. Hey, imagine Aaron Rodgers in Dallas.
Yeah, that'd be smoking. I ain't gonna lie. That'd be smoking. That'd be smoking. All right, Amir, should Dallas and will Dallas trade Dak Prescott? Because what Mo's talking about, I don't know if you saw it, but the tweet is that the Dallas Cowboys organization, who has staff people running their Twitter handle, they put the blame on Dak Prescott and put it out there, and everybody, all the real athletes would complain, like, how could you throw him under the bus like that? And you're the organization. They did that. So it does bring up the question that Dallas might trade him. What's your take on this, Amir?
Again, you hate to see this kind of thing happening for, to anybody. And I think where Dak Prescott is concerned, I mean, obviously we remember, and it just goes back to, one of your previous questions. We were trying to see if he could get over that hump. Remember, he had that situation where they didn't want to pay him. And we were like, come on, pay that man. He's done what he's supposed to do. He's, helped make your team great and so forth and so on. The problem isn't regular season for a lot of these quarterbacks or a lot of these players. The problem is postseason. Regular season is regular season. Me and you, Frank, we can go head to head. Me and you, Mo, we can go head to head, and we'll, get the best of each other, whatever. But when those lights go on, because that's when the playoffs are, that's what the playoffs are about, when the lights go on, when the city is really on your back, and/or, everything else. How do you show up for those moments? Dak has had those issues during the regular season. People aren't talking about it, but he had pick six and all kind of crazy stuff he did during the regular season, which always put Dallas in a bad situation. I'm not even sure if he can go to a new situation and do better. You're right, Mo. He probably does need a different kind of system. But I think that's a Dak Prescott thing. He's got to look within himself and be a better player. I don't care where he goes, because if you look at Ben Simmons still isn't shooting. I'm just, using a different analogy for this, for the purposes of this sports talk. But if you look at Ben Simmons, he still isn't shooting. Sir, how do you get to the league? You've been known to play D, pass the ball. You're supposed to be able to shoot, and you don't do it. It's a part of the game. You got to have mental toughness to get over those humps and be in those moments and be focused. And Dak hasn't shown that he has that capability yet. Not to mention, and maybe I'm wrong, where the hell is Ezekiel Elliott? If I remember, the two of them came in together, and they were supposed to be the greatest 1-2 punch in a long time. I haven't heard anybody say anything about Ezekiel and the fact that he hasn't really been, a major factor in The kid Lamb, he's doing his thing. But like I said, they have a lot of things that are questionable over there in Dallas. And
it's fun to part of Ezekiel Elliott.
Coach.
Yeah.
Their coach, Frank, I'll say this about their coach. Y'all know he hasn't done anything in quite some time. Remember when he ushered them out of Green Bay, he was looking suspect. So, like I said, there's a lot of things questionable to me. Dangerous Prescott is a lot.
Yeah. But Mo, he brings up a good point. I'm gonna come to this. My next question in a second. He brings up a good point. We did say what's up with Zeke Elliott. Zeke is on. Zeke is not a free agent, so chances of him returning back to Dallas is probably slim to none too. So Dallas Cowboys gonna look different by the time everything shows up. The upcoming season. But here's my next question for you, man. We gotta talk about the Buffalo Bills because the Buffalo Bills. I did predict on the weekend before the show. I said I thought I was rooting for the Buffalo Bills. I just didn't think they was going to win. Everybody hit me up on social media. They was inboxing me saying, "Frank, you crazy?" And everything else. Everything I said was going to happen because Cincinnati is being overlooked hugely. And they still being overlooked. People still overlooking them. Them boys are dogs. You know what I mean? Them Bengals is dogs. Like they doing their thing. So my question to you now, Mo, is the Buffalo Bills window closing? Because my man Stephon Diggs is upset. Josh Allen was upset. Everybody's upset. And people's contracts is getting ready to be renewed and expired. And some of the players not going to come back. Von Miller might not come back. What's your take on this, Mo? Where you at?
Yeah, I don't think the Buffalo window is closing. It's not closing. It's closed. It's done. No, FICO score is 3. They're done. It's closed because, and someone said it earlier this week. I was watching something. They said you can see the difference of the Buffalo team without Brian Daboll, and you can see the difference of the New York Giants team with Brian Daboll. It's closed. It's done, man. They're gonna have to figure it out if they get something going on, but they'll never get this chance again. Not like
Mo,
this.
I gotta disagree with you on one fact. When Von Miller got hurt, their whole season changed. They didn't even look like the same team on defense. And defense wins you games. You know what I mean? When Von Miller got hurt, what was it, 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago? Everything happened, so.
Is Von Miller coming back? Is he going to be good for next year? Is he going to be healthy for next year? Is he going to be Von Miller? I mean, because Von Miller been around how long?
Yeah, listen, he's been around for at least a good 12 years, 12 good years.
He ain't no spring chicken. So a year off is different for him than somebody in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? Or 2 or 3 years in the league. Come on, man. Me and you, well, no, I ain't going to say me and you. I'm old. I can't recover from stuff I used to recover from back in the day quick like I used to. You know what I mean? Nah, man. How do we know Von Miller's going to be Von Miller next year? Yeah, I'm not saying he ain't going to attempt it. I'm not saying he ain't going to put his best effort, but we already know, man, Father Time gets everybody.
It sure does. It sure does. All right, so I don't know what happened to me. He dropped out. So I'm move on to the next question. The next question I got is going to be a question you're going to like. Should the Giants bring back Daniel Jones? And if they should, tell me why. If not, who else did they bring in? And you being a Giants fan, I know you got your eyes circled on this. Did you like the way Daniel Jones played this year?
I've liked Daniel Jones since they drafted him. I always thought that. Yeah, I was when they drafted him number 6. I'll never forget. I was watching ESPN, Swagoo, and all of them were clowning the Giants for drafting him at number 6. He would have been available at another level. The reality of it, hold on, Frank. And the reality of it is that Washington was picking right after us, and they needed a quarterback. So I've been a Daniel Jones fan since he got here, and this year was great. It was not great, but it was a decent year. No turnovers. We already knew the guy could throw. We already knew the guy could run. His first game of the ever was 18 plays downfield against Pittsburgh, and let me talking when Pittsburgh was Pittsburgh. And the only thing that didn't score because he threw an interception, but he's gotten better. I'm sticking with Daniel Jones.
Okay, I missed this. I ain't mad at you. I'm sticking with him. All right. So the next question up is Sean Payton is interviewing. I said Sean Payton interviewing Sean Payton. That's what happens when you're doing 2 different things at the same time. Sean Payton's being interviewed by the Arizona Cardinals, man. What's your take on this, man?
I don't think Sean Payton. Does Sean Payton want that job? Well, then again, that might be a good fit for him with Kyler Murray. And they got Hopkinson.
Yeah, but they won't have DeAndre Hopkins because they're gonna trade him. You know what I mean? So it depends on who they get for him.
Well, still, they got Kyler Murray. Sean Payton might see that. I don't know how good of a quarterback Kyler Murray will be under Sean Payton, but I think he'll be a better quarterback than he is now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I can see that.
I can see, Sean Payton is known as the quarterback whisperer. You know what I mean? Like, because look what he did with Drew Brees. You know what I mean? He did a great job with Drew Brees. And at the time, everybody thought he was crazy for getting Drew. You remember this? When he was down in New Orleans, why are you getting him? Like, he's too small. He's too this. If he does it again, I mean, not that he has to do it again because he won a Super Bowl with him. So he did amazing things with him. So I ain't mad at that job. They got a lot, they got a lot of talent down there in Arizona. It's just that they're horribly coached. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Horribly.
And I'll say this too: they may have won more championships because didn't they get knocked out the playoffs like 2 or 3 years in a row off of stupid calls, like stuff that wasn't their fault. And had the tides turned, we might be talking about a different Sean Payton. We might be talking about multiple rings. So it's not like he can't get a team there.
I think that you're talking about the pass interference call that wasn't called at the end of the game when
with the Rams.
Yeah, with the Rams and the Rams went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots. That should have been the Saints going to the and because that call was one of the most egregious calls I've ever seen. It was a horrible call.
What was that word again?
It began with an E.
Right. You see, I told you I didn't go to college. Only one thing kept me out of college.
Right.
High school. Come on, man.
That's what kept you out? High school? That's it?
Right. Once I got out of high school, I'm like, I don't know how y'all can put up with this crap anymore. I'm done. I'm gonna be a gangster.
College is a lot better. Well, Amir's back. Amir, let me throw this question out to you, man.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this, Amir. Are you at an event, or are you Muslim or in the Nation of Islam?
No, well, I do. I am Muslim, meaning my overall religion is Muslim.
Right.
No, I'm not in an event. I'm actually at my office.
Okay.
Mo, like I said, you may or may not know this, but and they only know it because of my brother. That's one thing, but my father, I always share this with people. My father says he protected his brother and his friend, which was the late Malcolm X. So my affiliation is really different because my mother and father were part of the movement. I'm not practicing like most Muslims do, but because my parents were a part of the movement, it's a part of me. So that part is true. But
he being too nosy. That's all. We'll get back. He being too nosy. But the topic is that Sean Payton is interviewing for the Arizona Cardinals. If you wanted to ask you, what's your thought on Sean Payton interviewing with the Arizona Cardinals, man? You know what I mean? What's your thought on? Do you think that see you like it, right?
I do. I mean, what one of the things that has always been great to me is when supposedly, and this goes for players, this goes for coaches, when you as a coach or as a player, you can go and still bring your winning mentality and or your winning ways to whatever the new situation is. Sean Payton, obviously we know what he was able to and was capable of doing down in New Orleans, and that goes in the annals. But can he now take that same energy and duplicate that in another space? That to me is the mark of great players and great coaches. We give these guys all this props and accolades, but you've been in the same system, you've been in the same city for 1,000 years, and we can't take that away from you. But the culture and everything that goes to your acclimate, happens to be there. Can you do that someplace else? That's when I think to myself, this person is a great coach, or that person is a great player. When you can translate that into other spaces, that to me is the sign of greatness. And that's not to say that if you stayed somewhere for 1,000 years, that doesn't make you great. I'm just saying greatness to me translates to wherever you move. And I'm hoping that if there is the possibility of him getting that job, because Arizona hasn't been anything since what's my man with the locks? They haven't been anything since he was there, and that's been a while ago. You know what I mean?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald. Yep.
That's right. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald. That's all right, so let's move on to the NBA, man, because we're gonna talk about the rest of the games that's coming up this week. We're gonna do about tomorrow because that's what we always do. Get ready to focus on the AFC and NFC championship. We're gonna do that tomorrow. But today we gotta talk about the Lakers made a trade, and since the Lakers made the trade, they sent Kendrick Nunn 3 second-round picks to the Wizards for Rui Hachimura, and I'm kind of baffled that the Lakers, who have small amount of trade, picks, would trade away more of their picks for somebody else. It seemed like to me, this is my thought. They're really trying to go after it this year because maybe they see something this year or next year. I don't know what they're seeing. Obviously, I'm sitting at home and the Lakers are running the Lakers. What's your take on this, Mo? Do you think that this is going to be a good move? Because, that boy could ball too. He might be a perfect fit for the Lakers with the team they got right now. But that's my pick. What's your take, Mo?
With the Lakers right now, my whole pick is anything is better than what we got right now. That's what they probably seeing. Anything is better than what we have right now. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, he can ball, and he might be a perfect fit. But we got that word in there. Might is always a might. I'm not saying it can't happen, but for the Lakers, anything is better than what we have right now. Is what they said. Let's pull the trigger. Let's see what happens because they don't have that much of a window to keep this team together and do the things. So they need to pull the trigger and just see what happens. Sometimes you got to take the re-up money and go to the casino and hopefully you can get the rent money back.
Yeah, but Amir, Rui Hachimura might be excellent in the lineup with Russell, LeBron, AD when healthy. That might be a squad that might, he might be the difference. Because, I think I think they 1 or 2 players away from getting the ship right with the team they got. I think that one player was not Russell Westbrook like they thought it was. You know what I mean? What you think, Amir?
I think you're right. I think, first of all, they always need an infusion of youth and some young man or young person who gets it. One of the things about being in the league is, you could be overwhelmed by the league itself, meaning, wow, I'm on the grandest stage there is to be. And sometimes that could be a little bit much for some of the new and younger players. But when you have a player, like you said, of this young man's caliber, he appears to understand it, get it. He's going to play with one of the guys who seemingly, from at least the reports that we've seen and heard, from other players who played with him, who, again, takes the best of what you already have and says, let's incorporate that into what we're already doing. He doesn't ask you to come in there and be different. He doesn't ask you to come in there and act different and, and change up your game. He's like, okay, that's the way you play the game. Great. Let's see how we can incorporate this into what we're doing. And then to your point about management and going forward, we have no idea what AD is, when he's going to be back or if he's going to be back. And they have to start planning for the future. No disrespect to an AD or even to Westbrook. I think one of the greatest things that happened with Westbrook was the whole, having him come off the bench, because in all fairness, one of the issues that I've always seen for years and years with LeBron and the teams that he's played on, he can never sit down and rest. I don't care what team y'all look at. When he was with the Cavs, he couldn't sit down and rest. When he was with Miami, he couldn't sit down and rest. For whatever reason, the minute he sits down, the team starts to, lose, steam and this and that and the third. And before you know it, he's back in the game and he's playing from a deficit. When I sat down, we were up. Like, what's the problem? So maybe this gives him an opportunity to, again, have some infusion of youth and somebody who can, because when you look at Golden State, Jordan Poole, that's what makes Jordan Poole so valuable to Golden State. Him and Kuminga, these new young kids who understand the game now and are playing that way. So I think this is a great move. We'll have to wait to see, how it plays out. But hey, kudos to the Lakers for, continuing, like you said, to try to stay in the thick of things, because the West is not going to be easy. I don't care who comes out of the West. That's going to be a dogfight for everybody.
Yeah, I think every game is still separated by every team is still separated by a game and a half. I think that's what we're looking at. Let me talk about. Let's see where we at. The band is back together.
Team lose last night that were on a winning streak? I'm just asking.
No, I don't know who you're talking about. The band is back. Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo, they in the lineup. Giannis dropped 29. The Bucks beat the Pistons 150-130. The Bucks are back. We're gonna get to the Celtics in a second. You MF. But the Bucks are back in town, man. Giannis, the boys are back. The boys got it back together. We got to talk about the Bucks for one reason only, because the Bucks have been losing a lot lately and everything else, and people have been overlooking them, including all the people doing the NBA talk and everything else. But now the Bucks got everybody back. Chris Middleton's back. Giannis is back, and when they get back, they put up 150. So I know it's the Pistons, but I don't know. Should we fear the Bucks, especially if they get ready to make that trade They're supposed to be making a trade too. So, what's your take on this, man?
Yeah, we should fear the Bucks. A lot of people say last year when the Celtics took out the Bucks because they were missing that one piece. What was it? I think Middleton was down during the
Yeah,
playoffs. So
yeah.
that had the Middleton been there, do we see the Lake? I mean, do we see the Celtics in the finals? I don't think so. The Bucks is when they're healthy, they've already proven to be a team to be feared. But for some reason, they kind of got that San Antonio vibe. It's like you remember how San Antonio kept winning championships, but they were never. No one talked about
Talked
Tim
about.
Duncan.
Yep.
Nobody talked about Tim Duncan, and they're out there creating one of the greatest NBA dynasties ever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Milwaukee. They're they're just not winning as much as they did, but people are not talking about them. But yet, and still, you got to when you play them, you're like, oh damn, man, I forgot about this cat here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus. So yeah, fear Milwaukee, fear the deer. You gotta fear the deer.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, there's a lot of teams that don't get respect. Like in the NFL, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Nobody talked about Joe
Yeah.
Burrow all year long, and that boy is getting ready to go to the Super Bowl if they win
He's
this week.
balling. Yep.
2
He's
years in a
balling.
row, he's balling. He's balling. But let me ask you this, Amir. The Bucks are back. They got their players, especially Chris Middleton's back. Giannis, he was injured and everything else. We've been overlooking these boys. What's your take on the Bucks getting back? Do you think they're going to be able to right this ship and make things happen?
I think I'm hoping that they will, because I first of all, I'm looking forward to if there is the opportunity for Boston and Milwaukee to meet again in the conference finals. I'm always a big proponent of everybody having everybody and everybody as healthy as they can be or healthy, because then we can say, okay, we can put this to bed or we can put that to bed. I always hate, unfortunately, when teams don't have key players and this and the third, and they get the better of you and whatever, and then I don't know if we was at full strength. So with that having been said, I'm glad to see that finally, like you said, they have all their key players back. Milwaukee has always been a force to reckon with. I think, again, Giannis is one of the younger players. Well, he's not so much young anymore, but he's one of the newer superstars in our league who understands the game. He understands how to win. He understands night in and night out what it takes. And he's shown the progression and the growth over the years. Everything from even, having an outside jump shot. It's not the greatest jump shot, but he does take it from time to time, and it does fall. So this is when guys are locked in. They understand that I have to keep bringing a new wrinkle to my game when I come back the following year, because Cat's he got tired of them forming that wall, and he couldn't get past that wall. So you had to start putting up a jump shot. So they go, oh, shoot, we can't do the wall thing because now he can knock down a 3 or 18-footer. So now we got to move up on him. And because of his length, and when you think about it, it's funny because Giannis falls in that weird category of being one of these guys that we haven't seen anything like that ever. He's long. He can get, from end to end like no other player we've ever seen in this league thus far. So you take that into consideration, along with, like I said, the fact that his team members, and they have been, again, on that growth chart over the last few seasons. They, like you said, they had a downturn last year. Unfortunately, lost a key member, especially once they got into the playoffs and, and into the championship game. And it showed. So I'm excited. I'm always excited when all the key players are back. That's when the league is. I'm ready to watch.
I don't care what team it is. I want to beat you with everybody, because I hate having an excuse. People will throw up that excuse. Yeah, but I didn't have such and such. Y'all didn't have. I hate that. Then I want to beat you on full strength, so you ain't got no excuses to say nothing.
No excuses.
Speaking of excuses, I'm sure some people, Celtics fans, are going to be throwing up some excuses, but we didn't have this. The Celtics lost to Orlando 3 times out of 4. They lost the season series. Orlando's one of the worst teams in the league. The Celtics lost 6 games, 3 of them this year, to Orlando. Now, I will say, speaking of excuses, the Celtics didn't have their whole team on the floor any of those games, but it's out there. I don't use that as an excuse. They lost. So, any concern for you, Mo, if you in the Celtics organization that you lost to Orlando again? And let me throw this out there too. Orlando is putting together a team that people are overlooking. Speaking of overlooking teams, Orlando is putting together a nice team, and they are going to be literally a force to be reckoned with within 2 seasons. You heard it here first. Go ahead, Mo. What's your take?
A concern? No, man. Happy about it? Yes, I'm ecstatic. I was out of the show last night watching the game at a bar talking cash trash. But concerned, nah. Celtics, the Celtics, oh yeah, I can't stand the Celtics. The Celtics though, they were in the top three in the whole league. If
Well, what's
not
cash
top
trash?
two.
What's cash trash? What was you saying? I want to hear this. What was you saying?
What was I saying? Like, where's the leprechaun at tonight? You got the night off? Uh, I, I was trying to do everything Irish, anything Irish. I was like, what happened? I was like, what happened to the leprechaun? He hiding out in South Boston. He couldn't come out. The leprechaun down on Methadone Mile.
That's terrible. Not Meth Mile. Oh.
Yes, but the Celtics. You know what? The Celtics are a scary team. They really are. Because you cannot close your eyes. You cannot take them for granted. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, top team, top three, maybe even top two in the league. I think the only thing is that I don't see the Celtics advancing with a full Milwaukee. Not saying that they can't beat Milwaukee, but in a 7-game series, I can't see them advancing because I think Milwaukee will wear them down. But the Celtics.
Hold on, Mo.
Now you want to go to Amir.
No, hold on. Amir, send him the memo to Bo. I'm gonna let you finish. But somebody send him a memo and let him know. Celtics, they top two. They're the best in the league, bro. Like, I don't know if you got that memo. They're the best in the league, bro. But I'll let you finish. Go ahead. Top two in the league.
The only reason why I say that because top two is the top ones don't lose to Orlando 3 times in these season. That's just me.
I say this. I'll say this. I think this. They say teams. Certain situations is matchups. Obviously, Orlando appears to be a difficult matchup for the Boston Celtics. That's just the bottom line. And you have seasons like that. You have seasons where your team is great, but you have another team that, as a matchup, is just a nightmare for you. And Orlando might be that this year, seemingly, for the Boston Celtics. With that having been said, I don't think there's any need to panic, obviously, unless Orlando makes the playoffs, and then they got to square off again in the playoffs, because sometimes once things is in, once certain ideologies are in your head, then it translates into the game. When we watched the Dallas game this weekend, finally the field goal kicker was able to make a field goal. We were all watching with bated breath every time he took the field and had to kick an extra point on field goal. Like, let's see if he messes up again. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's just a matter of, again, you getting out of your own head and getting out of your own way. And I think in this particular case, again, Boston may or may not get up for Orlando like they could and like they should, but it's okay. They get up for every other team. They come prepared. And I don't think that this is anything to panic about. I think this is just one of those situations where this year in particular, they just have Boston's number. Simple as that.
So, Mo, at the beginning of the NBA season, right, I asked this question 5 times at least, right? The question was, will Golden State trade Draymond Green? I asked that question 5 times at least. Everybody gave different answers. And I'm sure Amir can co-sign this because Amir watched the show and he was on the show a couple of times. Now, Draymond Green came out in a tweet and said that he expects to be traded. Like he literally said the writing is on the wall for him to get traded. Yeah, he said it's on the wall. Now, the writing was on the wall at the beginning of the season because how bad he played. He wants big money. Golden State is not paying that big money with his numbers reduction. So, do you think Golden State Warriors going to trade him? And if so, where you see him landing? Because it's becoming more and more reality by February 9th.
If they trade him, he's leaving the West. They're not going to keep him in the West. He's going to the East. And he's going to. I mean, like, I'm looking at Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland could work with him, or Atlanta. You put a Draymond Green down in Atlanta. That might be a good fit to help Atlanta up because Atlanta needs better defense on their team. I'm looking at that. Or to go to a contender. Imagine Draymond Green with your boy out in Milwaukee or in Boston. Draymond Green don't have to work hard in Boston or the Brooklyn Nets.
I never even thought about him with Boston. That's a good pick because the Boston definitely needs a player like him. Because
needs a player like him.
Yeah. Everybody needs the Rodman, the Oakleys. Up the team, the Dale Davis. Where stuff don't go into the books, but without their effort, You know what I'm saying? Every championship team got one. You know, it was like I said, Rodman. What was his name for? Sean Elliott for the Spurs. All those teams. You know, if you ain't got one, you ain't wearing a ring.
Yeah, but him on Milwaukee would be dangerous. Him on the Celtics
Him
would
on
be
Milwaukee.
dangerous.
Yeah. So
him with Cleveland would because Cleveland's balling too. Yeah,
Cleveland's balling too.
Yeah.
Or maybe he goes to Orlando and he beats the Celtics for a fourth time.
Even if he ends up on a you know, like you said, he may not stay in the West, but even if he ends up with Ja Morant and them boys, because like I said, there's mental toughness. You know, there's that mental toughness in that guy who's, you know, the catalyst for that. And I think that, to both the points that you guys are making, you know, Draymond Green, you know, unfortunately, is a couple of things that, you know, went wrong. Obviously, the season, the preseason started with the unfortunate incident. And I think that really was the writing on the wall to me for how this season was going to go for them. And I'm not saying it like, you know, on some mean-spirited thing to Jordan Poole. I just thought that it was an unfortunate incident, and I hope that, you know, those two gentlemen are able to, you know, get beyond it because, you know, again, emotions run high. People say things, people go through things. But Jordan Poole, Kuminga, what's the other young man that was so instrumental in them winning last year that had been a journeyman for a little bit? Slim Kid with the crazy hair.
Gary Payton Jr.
Gary Payton Jr.
Yeah, Gary Payton Jr., but not him. The other slim kind of shoot. He plays, I think, like forward or power forward or small forward. He slashes to the basket. He can knock down the jumper. Damn, he was kind of like a journeyman before he finally got to Golden State and kind of settled in last year. Huh?
Andrew Wiggins?
Yes, Andrew Wiggins. Mm-hmm. Once Andrew Wiggins kind of, you know, got his mojo and sort of, you know, established himself, because the problem with Draymond Green is, yes, he's graded, you know, the pass off and this and that and the third, but he's not great. He's not a great open jump shot. Doesn't have a great open jump shot. He really doesn't have a put the ball on the floor kind of game and, you know, finish around the basket. Wiggins could do all of those things. Now, the one thing that he does have that they don't have is the tenacity on defense. But I've been saying this for years. Nobody believes me. And I think maybe you two gentlemen saw this interview with what's the gentleman who used to play in the league way back in the days? But he recently did a thing where he was saying carrying and illegal picks and all this stuff is like rampant in the league now. Draymond Green sets more illegal screens than any other player in the league. Go watch the games. He sets more than anybody. They never call it, and it does free up, you know, Clay, and it does free up but he does it all the time. And I've been saying it for years. I'm like, y'all just not gonna call the moving screen. This dude, he does the moving screen better than anybody. But I say all that to say that, like you said, the writing's on the wall. Plus, he's getting up there in age. Him, Clay, Steph, they're all getting up there in age. Look, the sad thing and the one thing that we all know, because we're, again, sports guys, I always tell everybody this: is somebody 10 years your junior, they gunning for your crown. Mm-hmm. This league is being turned over to the Ja Morants. It's being turned over to the young man in Cleveland, and you know it's their time now. And for Steph and them, it's not that, you know, they still won't be great and they still can't play in the league, but to keep up with those young people requires a lot. And if you, again, not taking care of yourself the way that you should, that becomes a super burden for some of these guys. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, the funny thing is LeBron was patting on Jason Tatum's shoulder and everything else. Now he passed the torch over the neck, because that whole age group that Tatum's at, that whole age, those boys are playing. Listen, Amir, you will know this too, because your brother played in the ball, and I'm sure Mo, you know this too. When you watch these boys play now, they're playing at a speed I've never seen, and they're shooting better than I've ever seen. We
used to own.
Let me just say this. Chris Ford died. They showed some highlights, and Chris Ford, if he hit 8 threes in the game, everybody at the time was like, "Oh my God, he hit 8 3." Now that's the norm. You know what I mean? Like, you hit 8 threes, and people, okay, yeah, so what? You hit 8 threes. You know what I mean? Now it's more like 18. Okay, now you make the news. You hit 18 threes. You know what I mean? So the game
and it's the range. Before, you know, even before there was a 3-point line, it was the range. But now I'm watching games where guys come and they 2 steps past the logo or 2 steps past half court. And I'm talking bottom of the net. I'm not talking about heave. I'm not talking about running and throwing it up. I'm talking about a straight up pull up. And I'm like, goodness gracious, these dudes are crazy now. So it's a different game. I think it's still enjoyable. I do think that there are some things that they probably could and should tweak. But again, this ain't my era. This isn't my, time to, to be critical of the sport. It was what it was in the era that we came up in. It's a new era. And we have to be mindful and thankful for where these kids are and what the game is to them now, because it's their turn. And that's really what this falls under. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you with that. Said with that. All right, so let's get ready to wrap up the show. Mo, tell everybody out there how they can follow you and what you got any other shows coming up, anything, talk to me.
Yeah, of course, as always, MOE_comic and on Instagram, and Mr. Sit Your Ass Down on my TikTok. Shows coming up. I'm gonna be I'm in Revere, Massachusetts. I'm gonna be in Beverly, Massachusetts, coming up real soon. And don't forget, February 5th, we back in Boston. Brown Sugar Sundays, baby. I'm not on the show, but we gonna be in the house.
You might be,
my man.
Depending on the time, you
listen,
might.
Listen. Whatever you say, El Chapo.
Here we go with that. Amir, thank you for joining the show. Thank you for saving me. I don't know where the fellas was today. Maybe they got mad at me. They didn't, like I said, I was at the dentist yesterday. My mouth still hurts. Like I was, bro, I was suffering. You know what I mean? Deep cleaning ain't no joke, bro.
No,
I never did it before, so this was new to me.
No, that's real. Yeah, that's real. I agree with you.
It didn't numb you up.
It felt like they did.
Even if they do, that's a heck of a process. But as always, Frank, I thank you for allowing me to jump on the show. Mo, it's great to see you. Y'all see me. I'm A-Rock Sealy on Instagram. You can, if you follow me, I might pop up on anything. I do talk shows, everything to sports shows. So you just might see me on anything. And then I'm Amir Sealy on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. So I love being on here, man. I love talking sports with you, gentlemen.
Thank you for joining the show. I'm surprised you ain't got your own show on MSNBC or CNN or All Black or something, bro. You thought provoking, bro. I'm surprised. Somebody gonna have to. You have to get an agent.
That.
You gotta get an agent to get
we got to talk, Frank. We definitely got to talk.
We got to talk about that. We're going to talk about
it. Yes.
Thank y'all for watching the show, man. We'll be back tomorrow. And, of course, the show's called Box Seats. It's on twice a day, 3 times a day. Actually comes on at 1, 7, and 11. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do the recap, talk about more about these trades. There's some more stuff jumping off. Man, there's a lot of stuff happening in sports, so we got lots to talk about. Thanks, y'all, for watching. We'll see y'all. Peace.
Peace.